Hello, guys. My name is Principe Leon. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada, a student at Versus Pro Wrestling, and you see me right here drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody. Want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinkin at Moe's be a brand ambassador. They encourage everybody to break out of that comfort zone, live their best self, which, hey, that's what got me starting the podcast. But they got great clothing, great apparel, t-shirts, hoodies, beanies, hats, all that good stuff. Be sure link will be in the description, and use the code Drinkin at Moe's to get 10% off your order. Let's fucking go.
All right, everybody, welcome to Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here. Be sure YouTube, all that good stuff. Like, subscribe, comment. Helps with that pain in the butt algorithm they got over there. We're on most places you can find your podcast: Apple, Google, Spotify. Even looking into, I got word about another one coming up, so we'll see where that goes. But today I have with me Principe Leon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Mo. How you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. We're in the wind down from WrestleMania, pretty much wrestling on just about every day of the week up till probably about Friday as of recording this. So, it's a good time to be a fan, and lots of great stuff happening.
So you were
First
busy,
thing,
busy.
oh yeah, no, and I mean this month alone, I have, unless some people have to back out for whatever reason, at least 3 recordings a week the entire month.
Hey, congratulations, man.
Oh yeah, and I just recently passed 100 episodes, so I'm on a good roll. I'm loving it. I'm getting good feedback, so we'll see.
Let's
On to
keep
the
it
next
going.
100. On to the next 100. But first thing I like to start off with each guest, especially the first time they're on, is what got you started as a fan, and then what got you started, deciding to make the leap into the business whenever that happened for you.
All right. So I'm originally from California. And back in the days, live in a Hispanic household, single mother, didn't have enough for cable and all that good stuff. So every Sunday, there would be either AAA or the CMML uh, podcast going on, or a show going on every Sunday. And it just happened for me to just skipping the channel, saw it, gravitated to it, and I said, "Oh, what is this?"
No, yeah, no,
Yeah.
and AAA and CMLL both still going strong. I know when I was actually stationed out in Southern California, out in San Diego, and it big, I see it passing by certain places on the TV screens, and I mean, hell, the AAA mega champion right now, Vikingo, doing amazing stuff all over the dang planet.
Crazy.
I actually got to see him live out in Kansas City, which is about 3 hours from me, when AEW did the recent Dynamite down there. Him versus
Okay.
Kenny Omega. Holy moly.
Man, I saw it on TV and I was like, man, if I could have been there, I would have freaking fanboyed out or something. I would have done something crazy.
Oh, yeah. And the crazy part for me about that match in particular is I would see on social media people wondering about, like, who this guy is, or like, are people even gonna know who he is when he comes out there? I mean, I'm sure it came across, and I know when I watched it back. You can tell when he came out there, that crowd, we all knew who he was and what we were about to see, and man, did it not disappoint.
No, it did not. From start to finish.
And God dang, it got started out with a bang.
Yeah, freaking diving out to him and throwing him in there and started going at it. That I was watching it. I just kept doing this. Like, what the heck did I just see?
My jaw was on the floor for most of that match. That is for sure. But what got you started, when you finally decided to make the leap into the business? Because like I have some friends down there in Southern California that, I've loved talking with them about how they got started.
Okay, so the way I got started was, it's a funny story. I think it's funny. So, I just happened to go to one of the lucha expos that they had here in Vegas. Fell in love watching the like indies and stuff like that. So I met this guy named Mariachi Loco, which is now keeping it loco.
I'm actually a good friend of his, not to interrupt you, but a good friend of his down in Southern California, SoCal Crazy, big
other guy,
big supporter of mine, been like a brother to me. We talk multiple times a week. Was telling me that he's wanting to come on, so like I'm gonna be getting in touch with him here soon.
Yeah, so I met both of them at a show here in Vegas, and it was I went to go see Juventud Guerrera that time because he was here, the Juice, and it just happened that the one that caught my eye was Mariachi Loco at the time. His dancing, the performance he gave, interacting with the fans, I was like, oh damn, like I've been missing out on the indie scene. So I was like, okay. So every time I would see him come out, I started following him on Instagram, Facebook, being a little stalker kind of. I started following him, and every time he'd come out, I was like, oh, I'm going to that show. I'm going to that show. And I made myself get noticed by him, like as in every time he'll come, take a picture with him, chop it up a little bit. Him and Lil Cholo and SoCal Crazy, humble wrestlers.
Totally. And I've actually reached out to Lil Cholo about coming on. So it's a lot of nailing down dates, but that comes with the territory when it comes to scheduling these things out.
Yeah. So they came out, and I just kept going to every show, right? As a fan, going to every show when they would come. They ended up going to one of the shows here in Vegas. I think the promotion was FSW.
I talked with Joe DeFalco here not that long ago. I did a preview episode for the Mecca show.
Okay, so I went there because I think Simbodi was running a lucha show, and they happened to hit me up on social media. They're like, "Hey, do you want to meet up for lunch before the show?" I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I do." So I cut all my plans, met them up at a Denny's, saw Mariachi without the mask, and I was like, "No!" It's kind of like seeing a superhero just take off his mask or cape, or Superman, just the glasses, something like that. So, just started chopping it up with them. And when I met them, I saw them at the Lucha Expo. I mentioned it to Mariachi. I was like, hey, I'm kind of chubby right now. I'm kind of trying to lose weight. Like, what do you think? He goes, well, FSW has a school, this and that. Talk to them. And it just didn't, I couldn't get the right dates to go train and all that with them. So as that passed on, like COVID hit and all that. When COVID hit, I was just starting to date with my wife and all that. And I mentioned it to her. I was like, hey, I saw this other school putting a ring in their backyard, and they're doing like limited people to train. She goes, well, is this something you really want to do? I was like, well, shit, since I was a kid watching WWE, watching, AAA, CMML, I was like, yeah, I'm very interested. She goes, well, what are you waiting for? Go hit him up and ask him how much or whatever. So ended up hitting up the school, which is BBW, Big Valley Wrestling. Started training with them. Got to train with Ricky Mandel. I got to meet Ricky Mandel from Lucha Underground and other places. Um, then something the dad of the Ricky Tenacious, he ended up getting COVID, so he kind of stopped the training and all that so his dad can get well. Met this guy named The Shade there. Met The Shade. I saw him with a different shirt, different school. I was like, hey, yo, like, how can I get in there? I was like, I just started and like, I'm loving it. So he's all like, well, the school's name is Versus Pro Wrestling, which I saw you talk to my good buddy Wes,
Yep.
promoter. So went over there, started talking to him, got some ideas like, hey, you know, I want to be a luchador. I want to do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. Well, that was off the bat that I wanted to be a luchador, you know, my heritage and all that. So I said, is it cool if I do it here? He goes, yeah, man, like, we'll give you an opportunity. Let's see what you got. And the rest right now is like writing its own, you know, like.
Oh yeah, no, man. It
but
was.
I want to say it was my wife's fault that I'm in this.
You know, in a way, you know, your wife's fault being in it. In a way, I have wrestling to even thank for meeting my wife, because I had a friend that wrestles out here that he had been trying to convince me to go to this show for a couple of years. So I was like, I worked evenings at the time. So I said, you know what? They got a show on a day I got off. I'll go. I hadn't even been there 30, 45 minutes. He's like, I got somebody I want you to meet. And then boom, we're going on, what was it, 19? We got married. So we're going on.
Oh, you're on the spot. You're on the spot.
4 years. 4 years. Yeah. Yes. We're going on 4. Doing math in my head is not my strong suit, but yeah, no, I have wrestling thank, because heck, I mentioned being stationed in San Diego. That's where I got my start with watching independent wrestling, because SoCal Crazy was on some of the first shows. You bring up Ricky Mandel. I met him down at, I believe it was SoCal Pro down. They were in Oceanside at the time. And I met a guy that ran a promotion up here, went by the name of Jason Strife, that he ran Magnum Wrestling, that did showcase matches down there, and got to talking. He'd mentioned that they ran up here. I got back and here I am.
Hey, well, shout out to, I guess, meeting your wife at a wrestling show, and shout out my wife for putting me on the wrestling scene.
No, it was kind of funny, because my parents would tell me about, you really think you're going to meet anybody at those? And then I ended up meeting my wife at one. So.
And it's funny because my wife's not even a wrestling fan or anything. Like, she converted into being a wrestling fan. Like, she'll go to my shows, she'll start meeting other wrestlers, and
Yeah,
like I come home and be like, oh look, I recorded my match or something. You want to watch it? Yeah, we start watching, and she'll give me like little pointers, like, hey, well, what about this? What about that? And it's like, damn, girl, you actually paying attention to this?
you know, my wife still isn't a fan. She happened to, at that show we met at, the promoter is a mutual friend of ours. She was helping him at the merch table, and she's still not really a fan, but she supports the fact that I love it. So I'll take it as a win.
That's the best.
No, totally. And you bring up, you know, when you were starting, I figured this was a good segue into this topic, that when you were getting started, wanting to be a luchador, the being a part of your culture, the lucha libre culture, the mass and everything, it's all a very, I'm trying to figure out a good way to put it, but very historical, very meaningful all of it, the mask, they all have their stories, the origins of it all. What's it like, one, being a part of, now that you're actively a luchador, actively in, that culture, the storied culture of lucha libre, and also maybe talk about, how you came up with what you wanted your mask to look like, because, masks very important to the lucha libre culture.
Right. So, to go off of the mask, I was born in August, which makes me a Leo.
Mm.
So, reason for bringing a lion.
Yeah.
And the prince is more of just, I wanted to be. There's already a Rey Leon, which props to that guy. I'm not trying to be him. I'm not nothing to do with him or anything. So people understand that. But I went off with the prince because I like Finn Balor. Finn Balor's pretty dope,
Yeah.
and he's he's short too. He's not a Rey Mysterio, but he's like in that level. But I like the whole Prince Leon or Prince Leon. So that's for the reason for my name.
Gotcha.
I'm a Leo, went with the lion theme and all that. Then the heritage is more of like when like the Mayans and all that, they would go to war, they would paint their face. So this is kind of our face painted for war, because that's where we're going to. When we go in the ring, it's time to go to war.
Oh yeah. And when people talk about wrestling, I mean, there's those people out there, just like a lot of forms of entertainment. There's the supporters, there's the detractors. The detractors often talk about, that's fake, right? And I try to always steer them away from that thought, because, predetermined is the term that I like to use more, because outcomes people know predetermined, but the damage you guys take in that ring, you're not faking that, because I've helped set up a few rings. I know that it's literally the padding, oftentimes very minimal, and it's not like a big old trampoline in there, and which I think a lot of people often think that it is. And I did a pro wrestling boot camp once that coincidentally was held at a venue attached to the hotel that I was put in the night before I left for boot camp. And we got to take some bumps in the ring. And
how did your neck feel the next day?
Oh God, I was walking funny for about a week.
Yeah. So I got pictures still from when I started, coming home with bruises in here from the ropes, my back, my chest, my neck. Every day coming in, telling my wife, "Hey, I'm sore. Can you massage me?" She goes, "Hey, after I told you to try it, you liked it. It's on you now. Like, you want to keep doing it. Don't come home crying to me saying, 'Oh, but this hurts, this hurts.'" And I mean, it sucks because, like you said, little bit of padding, and then you're hitting 2x4s. And in a lucha ring, it's a boxing ring, so some of these promotions have metal sheets. I got the first time I did a lucha show in California, dude just threw me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I might bounce like a regular wrestling ring." No, I stayed there glued. I was like, "Oh, damn."
Yep. So, that's the one thing a lot of people, especially with the lucha shows, they don't realize that a lot of the lucha libre rings are basically boxing rings converted with the traditional wrestling ring ropes. That's all that is.
Yeah, so I mean, the people that stir themselves to say that it's fake, I want them to go to a show and just ask a wrestler to chop them. Just be like, hey, are those chops fake? And then lift up your shirt and go like this for me.
Yep.
Prove me wrong that prove us wrong that it's fake.
Oh yeah.
The
No.
injuries are not fake.
Yeah.
Taking time away from our family ain't fake.
Mm.
You know, to get to entertain people. Sometimes some of these injuries are like, you know.
Just ask Dante
Oh.
Martin this last Supercard of Honor. Holy crap!
No.
I talked with the person I was interviewing yesterday. I'm like, that gave me PTSD off of remembering Sid.
But it's fake. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm like, that was the first time. Like just yesterday, I actually got to sit down and watch like the entire match, and like I knew when it was getting to that point where that spot happened, and god dang, his foot was opposite direction. I'm like, my ankle hurts just watching that.
Well, it was like that time that who was it? Luchasaurus chokeslam Ray Phoenix and his arm went the wrong way. I mean,
Yeah.
so I want them to see that and be like, oh, that's fake. Like if we planned it to,
Oh,
like, come on
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah, and you bring up chops. I love telling this story of when I got to see, well, now going by Bronson Reed, but was Jonah going up against Jeff Cobb.
Hmm.
And good Lord, I was close enough that those guys started chopping each other so hard that you can see little individual beads of sweat just flying off of them. It was nuts.
Was it a chop fest like the Sheamus McIntyre
Mm.
the Intercontinental title match?
It was very much certain parts of that match, very much so.
That match, when I was watching it too, I was like, oh no.
I wanted to say, what was the other one that comes to mind when I think of Chop Fest, that especially happened recently? I'm wanting to say it was either, I know Samoa Joe was one of them, and I'm wanting to say it was either, and it would very well be believable with either one of these two, but I'm wanting to say it was either Minoru Suzuki or Tomohiro Ishii. One of the two that, like, they were chopping each other so hard that like you could see the just welts on their chests. It was insane. But one thing that I like to talk with a lot of my guests with is, you know, what are some of your favorite matches that you've had so far?
Honestly, favorite match, I want to say all of them. Just being in the ring, being able to share that moment with that other wrestler, it's always grateful. I'm always grateful for that. Just being put on the show, because that means that promotion believes in me and they see something in me, regardless if I win or I lose or I have a title or I don't have a title. Just being in the ring with that other wrestler and bringing out the best out of each other, I think that's what makes everything great.
Oh,
So
totally.
favorite match. I can't really pick point one of them because all of them have something of them that I love. Whether it's a lucha show or wrestling or a wrestler in the lucha, it didn't matter. It's just being in the ring.
Oh, great answer. And, you know, very good way of thinking about it, because every time you're getting in the ring, that promotion's believing in you. You're getting to be in there doing something you love doing and getting to perform in front of in front of a crowd, and getting, whether you're a face and getting cheered or you're getting booed as a heel, you're getting that reaction from them, and there's something special about getting that reactions out of those people.
You should have seen that last match at Versus. We had Level Up. I came out at a battle royal with me being the goofy guy that I am. Came out with a sandal and a hanger. Just memories of being a kid, and I just went around smacking everybody with the chancla. Just bam, 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 bam. I got a big pop for that. I was just going around, just bam, bam. No one saw it coming either. It was either in their butt, in their when they were looking at me, it was in their head. But I went all the way around. I just got a big pop for that. I was like, oh, so like just the reaction of the fans is so amazing for us. Like whether we're getting booed, like you said, or we're getting cheered, it's just it's awesome. That feeling
Oh,
is just,
oh, I can only imagine. And like I said, either way, you're getting that reaction out of people. So either way, whichever side of the coin you're on, you're getting the reaction, and that's always a good thing. Um, I have two categories that I kind of like to round things off. One's a bit of a name game where I name off some people, you give me your thoughts on them. And today, since we were talking about Lucha Libre culture, I figured why not do a Lucha Libre edition of the name game here. So, like I said, name off some people, and these guys they're out there all over the place. You give me the first thoughts on them.
let's go.
First one, guy that a lot of people know, former Ring of Honor champion, Bandito.
Whew. Super high flyer, great with all around, all around
Definitely.
great.
Definitely. I haven't had the luxury of getting to see him live yet. Maybe someday, but always do enjoy getting to see him out there doing his thing. Next up, a guy we kind of talked a little bit. Definitely doing great things. He's been AEW. He's been, oh God, where all has he been? GCW, been all over. The Kingo.
Amazing, amazing. The stuff that guy comes up with, and what he's able, he willing to put his body through. Amazing. I just lost for words with him sometimes.
Oh, that it makes perfect sense because, good Lord, he makes stuff that you think would be damn near impossible look so damn effortlessly easy.
It looks like everybody's doing that. He makes it seem like everybody can do that, and it's like, man,
Oh, that is a perfect way to describe it because, good Lord, the way, like I said, with he just makes it look like everybody can do it, when in reality, it's like he is probably one of, if not the only person that can pull off some of that stuff.
mm-hmm.
Next up, another guy that was joining Vikingo on Supercard of Honor, Dralistico.
Realistic. So I loved him as Místico in Mexico, but he was the second version because Sin Cara, all that crap, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think him, Dragon Lee, Rush, the brothers, they all have a unique style, which is hard hitting, and they can fly, regardless of how big their body is, like bodybuilder body.
Yeah.
They can still, they're light on their feet. So
Totally.
that whole family, shout out, even their father.
Yeah, I mean, Dralistico and Roosh both in there with so two more amazing luchadors in Penta and Ray Phoenix and all those other amazing competitors in that reach for the Sky Ladder match. I would find it hard to convince me that match was not one of the top matches for all of WrestleMania weekend, regardless of what promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And last but not least, this guy, you think of Lucha Libre, you think of this guy. He's still going strong. He just got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, Rey Mysterio.
So with him, inspiration. Reason for it, he's the giant killer, man. Like I met him at a Toy Con or toy show here in Vegas. Dude's as tall as me. And everywhere I go, I kid you not, they see me with my mask. I did this thing for the G League here in Vegas. Shout out to, team from here. Um, Everybody was Rey Mysterio, Rey Mysterio. I was like, nah, man, I wish. I wish. I did this show in Bakersfield, same thing. Oh, Rey Mysterio. I was like, man, you guys don't know how much I do want to like be like him. Like he's the one that broke the everything, like the way that people look, the bringing lucha into like Conan said, he brought lucha into wrestling. He made everybody keep their eyes open for luchador. So now we have Ray Phoenix, Pentagon, Bandido, Hijo de Vikingo, Mr. Iguana, like in some of the promotions. Like we got all these people, like when they started doing Lucha Underground. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Oh my God.
Very much so.
I fell so in love with that. Watching Willie Mack being like a high flyer, and I was like, when he started doing that, I was like, what the hell? I was like, there's no way. And then, luckily for me, like I know him. He's one of my cool friends here. Had him for WrestleMania. I forgot when Kobe Kingston won the title.
Yes. I forget which one in particular, but I remember that one. Yeah.
I had him over for that one, and had him here, done stuff with him like outside. Like it's just knowing all these people is makes it easy for me, like to be like he's the guy.
Oh yeah. No, and I mean, you bring up Lucha Underground. I actually have, I'm spacing off where, but I have each of the seasons. Like, I own them all. So, nice. I love going back and watching that stuff because it was a very unique presentation that they had there. That, people talking about the cinematic matches. It's like a lot of that came from Lucha Underground because they had that very unique way of not very many people did the style of the presentation of the show that they had there.
Yeah, they were very different. Like they gave Drago that whole open up the wings with the fire, and like Drago's one of my other good friends. I met him at the Lucha Expo, and just every time he comes around, he's like, "Hey, I'm in town," or whatever. I actually thank you to my friend Duke Lawrence, which is one of the guys I came up with. He got me the mask for my birthday. Well, we share a birthday too, me and him. But he got me the Drago mask that he wore for Triple Mania. And I was like, yo, what the hell? Yeah, because we did a show for Alberto Del Rio. Yeah, so, we had him there. We had Carlitos. We had Cinta de Oro, which was Sin Cara before. We had him there. We had Dr. Wagner at that show. We had names in that. Hijo de Dos Caras, Super Beast. Like, the list can go on. And that show was awesome. Like, it was great to be a part of too. And all I did was I refed with my mask on. They were missing out on refs, and then Duke was doing like music for him. It was just being there was even great, just being a ref or whatever, but I did it with my mask on, so it was kind of weird.
It's different, but hey, very, very, very cool getting to be a part of all that. I know, I mean, bring up some of the guys there, Drago and Willie Mack too. Like Drago, definitely one of the guys I remember from back then. And Willie Mack, holy crap, I'm still such a huge fan of his. And like, I put him in the same light of some of the other big men out there that, wrestling has had big men that, you wouldn't think were able to move like that. The way, some of the high flying stuff that he's been able to do. And, you look out there, even now with some of the guys, not so much, but more muscular, but still huge, like Brian Cage. I was going to say, I actually got to see him at Warrior Wrestling in St. Louis. And then you
Very
go,
humble guy too.
Oh yeah, no, very nice. Nothing but good things to say about him. And I mean, you can go all the way back to one of my personal all-time favorites, and you would find it hard to convince, I think, just about anybody that he's not one of the best all-time big men in all of wrestling, Bam Bam Bigelow. Like, holy
Okay.
crap, the way that guy could just maneuver around there. You wouldn't think a guy of that size could be able to pull off that stuff.
What didn't he do like a cartwheel on some guy or something like that?
You know, there were some matches that, yeah, you could see him end up pulling off a cartwheel, and it's like, good Lord. Like, I jokingly try to do one in front of my nieces, and I feel like I'm about to fall over.
No, I see what you mean, man. Like this honestly, like wrestling has evolved a lot, you know,
Definitely.
from regular moves, from holds, and like big man doing, I guess what smaller guys would do like me. But
Like the
and then
cruiserweight type
yeah,
stuff.
and then you got us doing big man stuff like kicking people. Like it's just changed a lot, and I like it. I
No,
really like it.
oh no, I am very much there with you because, you know, every wrestling, like you said, it evolves. There was a time where it seemed a bit more mat based, and now you're moving. It's a little bit of everywhere, and I love it. It's a great time, especially right now, and all the talent that's out there, all the choices for people. Because, good Lord, like I think I mentioned a little bit at the start, there is literally this week from, well, going all the way back to the Monday last week,
Mhm.
every day clear up until this coming Friday, at least one wrestling show each day of the week. Excuse me. Now I have a bit of a random question category. I
Okay.
only keep two questions in here, the first and the last one. Other than that, I never know what I'm putting in here until I'm putting my notes together. You give me the first answer that comes to your head when you hear the question. Some
All
might
right.
be wrestling related, some might not be.
All right. Sounds good. Let's go.
First one, craziest in match moment for you.
Crazy is ah like that happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, man, trying to pick point one, one specific one because
it can
I've
be
done some stuff.
hard.
I've done some stuff that I'm like, oh my god, I did that. But then there's stuff that I did, and then I got hurt. You know. So, um, I want to say the match with Duke Lawrence where we did this spot where he threw a couple punches, he missed, grabbed me from my neck, threw me up, and this dude is 6'7". I went above him. He caught me, and then I used that same momentum to give him a Rana. Because dude's 6'7", 300 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
But just being in the air for that long, I was like, I had that Michael Jackson hang time. Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan. What the
Michael.
heck?
But yeah, that hang time ends up giving you that momentum.
Yeah, man, that was a surreal moment because I was up in the air, and it was kind of when I was starting, so I was kind of like, what do I do up here?
No, I can understand. I I've witnessed a couple crazy ones. Like I the one that always comes to mind because the guy is one of my best friends, the guy that I made the best man at my wedding. He was in this promotion's version of the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Okay.
The ladder was bridged between the guardrail and the ring apron. And I see him with, you know, for those watching the video, head of the guy was here, legs up here, and I see him looking down at the ladder. And I'm like, no. Jumps ladder folds, and oh,
Well, now that you bring up a ladder, I did do a BBW show, which we got robbed for the tag team titles. Me and Duke Lawrence, as known as the Pact at that time. I got arcadeoed, so they put the ladder in between, in the middle of the ring, and they put a door from the ropes to the ladder.
yeah.
So I'm over here punching this dude. Leon Slater turns me around. His tag team partner just comes and freaking RKO's me through the table. That was kind of too. That was kind of. I was like, I wasn't expecting that.
No, those RKO's can, as they say, come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And oh boy, one other one that I've witnessed that I'll admit I'm a fan of like multiple types of professional wrestling. A lot of times you put wrestling in front of me, I'll watch it. But one that, it can be a bit chaotic, but in that sense, also very intense, and that chaotic intensity, I love it. The death match style when it's done right, because there's not just as a lot of people, the detractors like to say, with the backyard stuff, but like let's say GCW or CZW, the way they do it, I like to think they do it right. But this was at Sami Callihan's promotion, Wrestling Revolver. They had Jake Chris versus Joel Bateman, and it ended by them. They had 4 folding chairs, and they bridged 2 panes of glass on there. And then I see Jake's manager come in, and he pulls out lighter fluid and lights the glass on fire. Insane. My jaw was on the floor for a while after that, because I just couldn't believe what I saw.
Yeah, my respect for those guys, but I don't think I'll ever do a match like that. I got kids I want to come home to, man, and a wife.
Yeah, no, I got all
my night at the hospital.
I got all the respect in the world for those guys.
Same.
That are willing to put their bodies on the line like that. I actually went to an all deathmatch show here recently, not knowing that when I went that my ticket also included like an entry into this raffle to where whoever won got something that was used in the show signed by everybody. I didn't know that I won until the promoter came up and handed it to me, but it was a section of a door that was used in one of the matches.
Oh, okay.
And there's still blood splattered on there. I remember when my wife first saw it, when she actually first saw it, and she's like, "Is that blood on there?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Honestly, I still want to own, because I'm a mask collector as well. So I collect masks from luchadors. I still want to own one that has blood, but the one mask that I really, really want, because I already kind of have the ones that I wanted, it's a Prince Puma autograph.
Ooh.
That's my number one mask that I'm looking forward to getting.
That would be a good one. One that I would almost be certain that you could probably count to a lot of times have blood on it would probably be Penta. I imagine you can get your hands on a Penta one that had blood on it.
Yeah, I got I think 2 Penta masks. I got a pink one, and then I got one off of him at the Lucha Expo in San Diego, an all white with. The only reason I got that one was because it's different. So it's an all white with silver.
Nice.
And normally he wears all black.
Yeah.
A different color. So when I saw the white one, I was like, I want that one because it's different.
You know what? Before we go into the next category, you mentioned collecting masks. I like to talk a little bit it's wrestling related, but it's a bit outside. Collecting memorabilia from wrestlers. What would you say is a favorite item of yours? Because you mentioned some cool ones right there.
hmm So favorite, honestly, like I said, I don't have favorites because I just love everything about a lucha mask.
No,
So
understandable.
if the wrestler catches my eyes, the luchador or whatever, I'll go get something from him that's memorable for me to know that,
Mm.
hey, this guy made a little light bulb go off or my heart pound or something that he made me feel some type of way. So
Yeah.
that's the people I collect masks from. The one that I like before back in the days, like I told you, Mariachi Locos mask.
Mm.
That I got one from him because he's my boy. I also got his mask tattooed, which is kind of sucks because he changed it,
Mm.
but his mask is right there because he's the one that got me back into this. To be honest,
Yeah,
he's the
that's
one
awesome.
that just sparked that freaking fire back in my heart with wrestling. So in honor of him, not the gimmick, him,
Mm.
it was for him.
No, understandable. I mean, I've debated SoCal Crazy in particular. I know a lot of his friends have, you know, the his mask tattooed somewhere on him. I've been debated on which one to try to get, but eventually probably get one. But I I have my little bit of a wrestling collection. I mean, I got obviously that door. I
Mhm.
have signed ring worn kick pads from Alex Cologne that I'm rather proud of.
Okay.
And I'm also nowhere near the level of wrestling figure collecting as, let's say, obviously Matt Cardona. Good Lord, that guy's a little crazy with that, but I respect it. But I have my own little budding collection. I like to oftentimes, if I'm knowing I'm going to meet somebody, I like to go take one to get autographed. And
Right.
I've started to get a good little collection. I got Hangman Page, I got Lance Archer, Jeff Cobb, I mentioned. I got to meet him.
I want one of
Um,
his masks as well.
oh yeah, back
Lucha
from
Underground.
Lucha
Matanza.
Underground when he was that uh
Matanza.
Matanza. Yeah, I was trying to remember. Um, let's see who else. Rich Swan, Keith Lee, Swerve, um, Kushida. I got to meet him recently,
Nice.
and Taya Valkyrie. That was the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
I got there. She had the figure in that line of what was it? Ray Phoenix, Penta, and Hoovy.
Okay.
There was a Lucha Libre line that had all of them in it, and
Dang,
I
that's
found it on Ringside Collectibles. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm gonna meet her, so I want that one.
so I got this that show that I did with Alberto Del Rio.
Mm.
Uh I want to thank Super Beast for letting me do it because I was in his building, Dark Arts Entertainment here in Vegas. If you're ever
Ah.
out here, they got some good stuff too. Um, got the kendo stick because
Mm.
so like I said, I ref the whole match. You know, I Iron Man the whole show. I kind of screwed up at the end. Still got everything settled and everything was fine. They throw me back in the ring. Alberto Del Rio pokes me with a kendo stick and I drop down, and Sin Cara, which is Cinta de Oro, freaking grabs the kendo stick and just whacks the heck out of me in the back,
Ah.
breaks it on my back. All
Mm.
right. We go to the back and I was like, oh, like I need to get this autograph if Super Beast lets me. Super Beast are like, yeah, man, go ahead. Go ask him and he'll sign it for you. So I got that signed. I got that autograph and I have the Kindle stick in my house all broken.
That's awesome. Well, moving on to more of the questions, I would feel weird if with a title of a show like Drinking at Moe's, I would feel weird if I didn't have this question in here most of the time. Favorite drink, whether alcoholic, non, or you can name one of each if you want.
All right. So alcoholic wise, I'm a beer drinker.
Mm. Same.
So I try to do wine because my wife likes wine, but it just gives me a headache right away. So I'll stick to my beer, which is Modelo's.
Mm.
Modelo's, or if there's no Modelo's, Estrella de Jalisco. Those two are top favorite, either with a michelada or just have the mix on the side so I can sip on that and drink my beer. And then drink wise, like regular drink, like, I've been trying to cut down on a lot of stuff, but it was Coke before,
Mm.
Coca-Cola.
Gotcha.
Right now it's a bunch of water.
But yeah, no, my wife tells me that she thinks I have a bit of a Dr. Pepper problem. And I always joke with her, I don't have a problem. I have it figured out. The only problem I have is if I don't have any.
Right? Yeah, that's how I was with Coke, because my family were big Coke fans. Like we were a Pepsi. We loved Pepsi before, and then Coke, for some reason, just started creeping up on us and all that. And right now, trying to eat healthy and be healthy,
Uh,
so I can do more, acrobatic stuff like all the
gotcha.
other guys. So not so a little bit of water, 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 water.
Oh yeah, and you bring up Modelo. I know I have delved into some of their micheladas that I've seen of them actually making the like pre-made ones, like different
Yeah.
flavors, and I've had some good ones. I've had some really good
Yeah.
ones of theirs.
I think I'm just a regular Modelo. Like I tried their pina colada, didn't really like it.
Mm.
Their mango one, I think I only liked it because I was already kind of buzzing it at the time. So that sweet taste kind of hit the spot. And their regular like mixed one, it's okay, but I do my own mix here at home,
Gotcha. Hey, if you got a mix you like and you can make it yourself, why the hell not?
right? It's cheaper too.
Oh, totally. Next up, you often hear lots of wrestlers talking about, some of the bigger crowds they've wrestled in front of and some of the, well, smaller ones. What if you can remember what's the largest crowd and the smallest crowd you've ever wrestled in front of?
All right, the smallest, I want to say it was probably when, the promotion where I'm from versus Pro Studios, when when the pandemic was around, like the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic time, it was a lot of shows that were very few people because everybody was scared and
Yeah.
all that. So honestly, I want to say around that time period, I really like. There's been other promotions in California too that they had like small crowds. The biggest one, I want to say Level Up, when we did the Level Up convention.
Mm.
Man, we had the first day we had all our seats, like there was access to seats. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, we had three different sections and they were all filled. We had people standing. Like, it seemed like it was our stuff going on, nothing else. Like, none of the anime stuff, the games and all that, none of that mattered, because once they saw the ring and they heard the noise, it just gravitated people, and it was just like it just kept coming.
Understandable. And like I've talked with a couple of people that I've talked with from Versus, and I remember the first matches I saw of theirs, I'm like, man, this is a very unique concept because one, when you go to independent shows, you don't often hear, well, I guess I could say this for national TV too. You go to wrestling shows, you don't often hear the commentators while you're just sitting there in the crowd. You have to go, if you want to hear the commentators, you end up having to go watch the show back later.
Right.
Versus, it was like, holy crap, this is unique. You are getting to actually sit in the crowd and actually hear the commentators, and that, especially in like a convention setting, I can imagine can end up drawing people in because they're like, whoa, what the heck is that? And then they go over and end up watching it. And before you know it, you got them hooked in, and they're like, man, I got to stay for the next match and the next one.
That's very unique of actually of versus pro. Like um we were at a mall at the time, like where we when we started. And people would just be walking by, right? Walking by,
Yeah.
walking by. So hearing people like commentating and then the action and the bumps and being loud, it kind of gravitated people to come and watch. And they're like, oh, they have wrestling here. They have wrestling here. And then, we started getting people here and there. When's your
Yeah.
guys' next show? When is the next show? Oh, well, it's this day. Here's our flyer, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of unique too, because if you think about it, if you're not a wrestling fan and you're walking by, you see me do a move, right? I don't know, a Hurricane or a head scissors, a DDT, and you don't know crap about wrestling, and you hear, oh, that's a DDT, it gravitates you because you're like, oh, I know that move now. Let me see
Mm.
what other moves I can learn from them doing and stuff like that. Because if not, you're just sitting there watching, and then it's kind of like, well, what did he just do? That everybody's going
Yeah.
crazy because you have your non-wrestling fans and your wrestling fans.
Hmm.
So I think that's kind of unique because it gravitates just anywhere you go. It's kind of having like a DJ.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely. Completely agree. Now, I am I mean, obviously I could stand to lose a few pounds, but I love my food. What would you say favorite food?
Favorite food? Uh, it's Asian food, man.
Mm,
Filipino food, the Thai food, Vietnamese, whatever is
gotcha.
like Oriental.
Oh yeah. No,
I think I think I'm tired of eating tacos and burritos growing up and all that. So I had to have that, you know?
no, I can understand, and I mean, well, I do enjoy a taco as good as the next
Right.
person. I've when I was stationed in Southern California, the when I went on deployment, we were all over Southeast Asia. We were in the Philippines, we were in Thailand, and man, the food in both places was awesome. And when I met my now wife, she loved Thai food, and she, I guess, at the time didn't know I also liked Thai food. So she, first time we went, she was like, "Do you like Thai food?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've
Mm.
had Thai food in Thailand." And she's just like, she just laughed at me and was like, "You idiot."
Yeah, man. I work with a lot of also like Filipino and Oriental people. So like around lunchtime, they're very humble and they share everything,
Oh yeah.
regardless regardless if it's just bite size. They cut that in half and give it to you. So
Oh
I'm lucky enough that I have that at work where we all share. I'll take my steak or whatever and be like, hey, you guys want some? And then we all share. So I try different stuff.
oh yeah, that's awesome. And you know what? You bring up, I didn't think about it. In the Philippines, I remember the first security watch I had to do was actually in a boat going around the ship with some of the local Filipino security, and it was around lunchtime, and they had some of the Filipino fried chicken in there, and they're like, literally, we're like, "You want some?" And I'm like, "Sure."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. So that when you mentioned that, that kind of brought back that story for me. And, oh man, I could do a whole nother podcast on just deployment military stories.
Well, let me stop you with this and say thank you for serving. I appreciate that because not a lot of people try to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, it was an honor of a lifetime. Something that I'm glad I did, but god dang, some of that stuff like boot camp and all that, nope, I'd like to avoid having to do that again if I had the choice. But last but not least, best advice for anybody wanting to get into wrestling.
So the best advice that I got starting off was from this uh, guy named Jeff Bronk, which he was a wrestler back in the days in Minnesota. Met him here. going to the lucha shows, expos and all that. Actually drove with him to the San Diego expo. When I told him, like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this and that, he goes, the best advice I can give you starting off is just shut up and listen. Be a sponge.
Hmm.
If they tell you something, don't say I know. Say yes, sir. Because if you say you know, then what are you doing there training or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But the best advice is just listen. Mouth closed, ears open. Just listen to everything, soak in everything, train with different people. I got the chance to, train in California with little Cholo. I've trained at EWF with Jesse
Hmm.
Hernandez. We trained and then we had a show right after.
Nice.
Trained started off at BBW here in Vegas. Trained at FSW with
Hmm.
Cutthroat Cody, and right now I'm at Versus right now with Shade, with uh Frankie Frank or Frankie Yatzine or something like that, with Wes Logan, which Wes Logan is phenomenal. If you just sit there and listen to the guy, he'll steer you to the right direction. Not like
Hmm.
these other people that just want to nitpick you or whatever. He'll nitpick, but he'll tell you the reason for it.
Yeah. No.
Like he
And
won't just be that ass, and be like, you're messing up, you. No, he'll tell
yeah.
you like, we need to fix it now because later
Yeah.
on you're gonna need this. So shout out to Wes. Thank you for always being in my ear. Sorry that I don't listen sometimes, but it comes with the territory.
Oh yeah. And I mean, you bring up good point with training with different people because the people that seem to have a longer shelf life are the ones that are kind of well-rounded guys that they'll train with the lucha libre, they'll train with the strong style, they'll train the American style, and they'll take little bits from each and just mold it into their own thing.
That's the reason why we have this new evolution of everything in wrestling instead of lucha over here, wrestling here, strong style here. Everything's meshed, and it's great for every promotion.
Oh, most definitely. Well, that is about all I have. But before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on you, they can go ahead and get them there.
Okay, so on Twitter, I'm at Principe Leon 17. Instagram, I'm under Principe, Principe_Leon_oficial, in Spanish, official, if you guys translate that. And then what is it? Facebook, I'm under Principe Leon.
Awesome. Well, get all of that in the description of both podcast and YouTube platforms. Anyways, like I said, that is about all we have for today. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today, and best of luck out there with the upcoming shows out there out west with Versus Pro.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for having me. It was amazing interview. Thank you.
Thank you.